Ethereum's daily ETH burn has reached its lowest point ever due to a decrease in on-chain activity. Meanwhile, Hong Kong is in discussions with banks to expedite the freezing of accounts linked to scams. Additionally, Ethereum's daily ETH burn has reached its lowest point ever due to a decrease in on-chain activity. Meanwhile, Hong Kong is in discussions with banks to expedite the freezing of accounts linked to scams. Additionally, the head of National Grid has stated that Heathrow Airport might have remained operational despite the substation fire that occurred 3 days ago, leading to the airport's closure due to a power outage.
OpenAI and Meta are exploring a partnership with India's Reliance to collaborate on artificial intelligence. Meanwhile, Tencent's Hunyuan T1 AI reasoning model is competing with DeepSeek in terms of both performance and cost. Additionally, a recent filing has disclosed that Meta has established revenue sharing agreements with those who host the Llama AI model.
A South Korean court has reinstated Han Duck-soo, who was previously impeached, as the acting president. In Hong Kong, the security chief has criticized what he described as smearing remarks in an article by The Guardian concerning the top court's ruling on Jimmy Lai. 8 months prior, a Hong Kong court dismissed media tycoon Jimmy Lai's attempt to contest the ban on foreign lawyers at the highest court level. Recently, The Guardian published a report indicating that UK-based lawyers representing Hong Kong activist Jimmy Lai have been targeted by the Chinese state. Additionally, delegations from Russia and the United States have convened in Riyadh to engage in discussions regarding a potential settlement for Ukraine.
Invent the Malacca Strait by drafting a law to expedite the construction of a $29 billion transportation link. 2 years prior, Thailand had put forth a $28 billion proposal for a maritime route connecting the Asia-Pacific region to India and the Middle East, featuring a suggested Ranong-Chumphon shipping shortcut. Meanwhile, Paris is considering a plan to make 500 streets car-free, serving as a trial for its green city policies. In the United States, employment opportunities for computer programmers have dropped to their lowest point since 1980, a time long before the Internet became widespread.
Second Lady Usha Vance is set to visit Greenland amid ongoing threats from Donald Trump, while Greenland officials express their anger over Trump's intention to send a delegation. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney asserts that Donald Trump will not break us as he announces a snap election. Additionally, a Sinaloa cartel smuggler at the U.S.-Canada border claims he will always manage to transport migrants into the United States.
A U.S. judge has ruled that China is responsible for its mishandling of the COVID-19 pandemic and has imposed a significant penalty of $24 billion. In response, Missouri is taking steps to seize farmland and assets owned by China to enforce this unprecedented judgment. Meanwhile, the U.S. Space Force has reported that a Chinese spacecraft is engaging in dogfighting maneuvers while in orbit. Additionally, Western officials have accused Russia of orchestrating a series of sabotage activities throughout Europe.
Trump is proposing a requirement for immigrants to disclose their social media accounts when they apply for citizenship. Additionally, the IRS is close to an agreement with ICE to exchange the addresses of individuals suspected of being undocumented. The Wall Street Journal mentions that tax revenue might decrease by 10% due to the ongoing chaos at the IRS. Reuters also notes that thousands of agents have been reassigned to focus on Trump's immigration enforcement efforts. Furthermore, a survey indicates that U.S. federal workers are divided in their support for Trump's mandate to return to office. A report suggests that museums in the United States might see financial gains by providing free entry. The clearest images ever of a universe that is 380,000 years old have been released. Research indicates that large birds such as emus are capable of technical innovation.
The editor of The Atlantic revealed that top officials from the Trump administration inadvertently sent him text messages containing U.S. secret war plans. These officials in the leaked chat had also criticized Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. The White House has refuted the existence of war plans, although it was acknowledged that classified information related to Yemen was discussed in the Signal chat. Following the leak, the Pentagon issued a warning that the Signal app was being targeted by hackers. National Security Advisor National Security Advisor Mike Waltz accepted full responsibility for the embarrassing Signal chat leak and referred to the Atlantic editor as scum.
The New York Times published an article titled "The Leaked Signal Chat," annotated. In this report, it was revealed that Trump's cabinet members referred to Europe as pathetic freeloaders in a shocking leak of text messages, which occurred when a journalist inadvertently joined the chat. Additionally, Trump attributed the situation to an unnamed lower-level staffer who had provided the reporter with Michael Waltz's contact information. Despite this, Trump expressed his support for his national security advisor after military plans were inadvertently shared on Signal. Meanwhile, Michael Waltz's use of emojis, a fist, a fire, and an American flag, in response to the Yemen strikes gained widespread attention and went viral. Furthermore, Ratcliffe mentioned that the Biden administration had approved Signal for communication purposes.
The Democratic Party for its lack of courage.
Trump has announced that any nation purchasing Venezuelan oil will be subjected to a 25% tariff. Additionally, it is reported that Trump is preparing to introduce a more limited package of tariffs in April compared to what was initially threatened, with Trump stating, "I may give a lot of countries breaks on reciprocal tariffs." Furthermore, the Trump administration has denied Mexico's request for water from the Colorado River, marking the first such rejection since 1944. Meanwhile, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance is set to travel to Greenland on Friday to join his wife, amidst accusations from the Danish Prime Minister that the U.S. is exerting unacceptable pressure, as J.D. Vance confirms his participation in the Greenland visit.
Greenland has experienced an increase of more than 1,600 kilometers in its coastline as glaciers continue to recede. A study has found that birds in the Galapagos Islands are displaying increased aggression, a behavior attributed to the noise from traffic, which has led to what is being described as road rage. Companies producing power semiconductors are reducing their workforce and cutting back on expenses as the growth in electric vehicles, EVs, slows down, and Toyota has postponed its project to build a battery plant in Japan due to this deceleration in EV development. Disney's CEO, Bob Iger, revealed plans for a sequel to the beloved film Coco during a recent shareholder meeting. Meanwhile, Minecraft is set to introduce a significant graphical update in 2025, promising vibrant new visuals. Additionally, an original prop from the classic movie E.T. is scheduled to be auctioned at Sotheby's, with an estimated value of nearly $1 million. In other news, a fully operational Apple I computer fetched $375,000 at a recent auction.
In the United States, the Department of Defense has decided to terminate an HRIT project due to a significant budget overrun of 780% and numerous delays spanning several years. Additionally, it has been reported that a small Chinese drone has successfully reached the deepest point on Earth, surpassing the capabilities of the U.S. Navy. Furthermore, NASA has removed the reference to the first woman, person of color, from the Artemis website.
Hamdan Bulal, the co-director of No Other Land, has been released, according to Yuval Abraham. The Oscar-winning Palestinian filmmaker was recently assaulted by Israeli settlers and subsequently detained by the military. His colleagues claim the attack was a revenge for his film about the West Bank. Additionally, the University of Hong Kong has decided to cancel a talk by the head of the Anti-Defamation League following a petition. Meanwhile, U.S. embassies across Europe have issued warnings to visa applicants, advising them against promoting Hamas.
Russia and Ukraine have engaged in talks mediated by the United States, resulting in an agreement to cease strikes in the Black Sea. According to the U.S., The Wall Street Journal has commented on this development, noting that the U.S. has agreed to assist Russia in increasing its exports during these negotiations. Meanwhile, it has been reported that the U.S. will not conduct live-fire exercises with the Typhoon missile system stationed in the Philippines, which had previously caused tension with China. Additionally, the Philippines is preparing to host a second Typhoon missile system, indicating the fulfillment of a defense commitment made by former President Trump. Furthermore, China has denied allegations that former Philippine President Duterte is seeking asylum.
BMW anticipates a significant financial impact, with a projected €1 billion reduction in earnings due to rising tariffs. Meanwhile, Hyundai's steel plant is at the forefront of a substantial $21 billion investment in the United States, even as the threat of tariffs remains. In the electric vehicle sector, Chinese company BYD has surpassed Tesla, achieving annual sales exceeding $100 billion.
The position of being the largest company in Europe, surpassing Novo Nordisk. Meanwhile, Samsung is planning to introduce smart glasses equipped with an XR headset by the year 2025. Additionally, Bayer has been mandated to pay a sum of $2.1 billion in connection with its most recent legal defeat, involving the Roundup wheat killer.
Agibot, a Chinese company specializing in humanoid robots, aims to produce the same number of units as Elon Musk's Optimus robot this year. Meanwhile, Alibaba has collaborated with BMW to create artificial intelligence technology specifically for automobiles in the Chinese market. Additionally, 1X, a company supported by OpenAI, is initiating in-home testing of its humanoid robot model Neo Gamma.
A Canadian national suspected of participating in the snowflake attacks has agreed to be extradited to the United States. Additionally, a significant vulnerability in Next.js has been discovered, enabling attackers to circumvent middleware authorization checks. In Malaysia, hackers have requested a ransom of $10 million to resolve a cyber attack on Malaysia Airports Holdings, but Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim has firmly stated that there will be no payment of this amount.
A Malaysian minister's assertion that the YOLO attitude is contributing to the increase in HIV cases has been met with mockery. The deputy health minister recently stated that this mindset could be responsible for the rise in HIV infections. In a separate incident, a motorcyclist who vanished into a massive sinkhole in Seoul was discovered dead following an extensive overnight search. Additionally, China has implemented a ban on mandatory facial recognition and its application in private areas such as hotel rooms. The White House has indicated that the country's gold reserves might be utilized to acquire Bitcoin. Meanwhile, Moody's has issued a warning regarding the worsening situation of the United States public finances. In Florida, there is a discussion underway about potentially relaxing certain child labor regulations to address job vacancies left by undocumented immigrants. Additionally, in the United States, over 300 wealthy individuals have urged Congress to oppose granting tax breaks to the affluent.
Apple Music is now collaborating with music tools to enable DJs to craft mixes from its extensive music library. Infinite Reality has acquired the well-known music service Napster, transforming it into a social music platform that emphasizes active fan interaction over passive listening. This platform empowers artists to engage with, own, and monetize their relationships with fans. Additionally, Anthropic has secured an early victory in a music publisher's AI copyright case. 2 months prior, music publishers and Anthropic came to an agreement regarding the implementation of guardrails in a dispute over AI-generated song lyrics.
Elon Musk and the Doge team are scheduled to have a conversation with Fox News' Brett Baer. Meanwhile, the University of Southern California has announced a hiring freeze and is implementing austerity measures due to financial difficulties and ongoing investigations related to Donald Trump. Additionally, law firms are declining to represent individuals opposing Trump following his recent attacks.
In 2024, the United States saw the highest number of new individuals with multi-million-dollar wealth. It has been reported that wealthy individuals in America are rushing to establish bank accounts in Switzerland due to concerns related to Donald Trump. In Europe, retail investors are engaging in a battle with hedge funds, reminiscent of the meme stock frenzy.
Avatars have gained popularity among customers or have been prominently featured in marketing initiatives. Additionally, Furious AI, an AI chip startup, has declined Meta's $800 million acquisition offer. Furthermore, developers working on open-source projects report that AI web crawlers are significantly dominating internet traffic, leading to the necessity of blocking entire countries to manage the influx.
Former UFC champion Cain Velasquez has been sentenced to 5 years in prison for shooting a man who is accused of molesting a family member. Additionally, World Athletics plans to implement mandatory sex testing for female athletes in competitions. Furthermore, Sepp Blatter and Michel Platini have been cleared of charges in the FIFA corruption case for a second time.
According to Reuters, Apple is expected to avoid a fine from the European Union regarding browser options, as indicated by sources. Additionally, Reuters mentions that India has issued a tax demand of $601 million to Samsung for its telecom imports. Meanwhile, the New York Post reports that the European Union is planning to impose a fine of at least $1 billion on Meta for violating stringent antitrust regulations, according to sources.
A cryptocurrency bank supported by Donald Trump has entered the competitive stablecoin market by launching a new token that is pegged to the US dollar. Meanwhile, eToro has announced its intention to go public, revealing that its commission revenues increased by 46% over the past year. Additionally, GameStop plans to allocate a portion of its corporate funds to invest in Bitcoin, mirroring a strategy previously adopted by MicroStrategy.
Trump directed the FBI to release classified documents related to the Crossfire hurricane investigation into Russia. 5 years prior, an FBI agent involved in initiating the Russia probe claimed that Trump was compromised and suggested that the FBI considered whether Trump might be a Manchurian candidate elected, according to a new book by the former agent. Additionally, 5 years ago, the CIA informed President Obama about an allegation that Hillary Clinton fabricated the Trump-Russia scandal, as stated by the spy chief. Binance has temporarily taken an employee off duty due to suspicions that they illegally gained from insider knowledge. Ripple Labs has announced a resolution with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, agreeing to pay a decreased fine of $50 million. Trump Media has partnered with Crypto.com to introduce exchange-traded funds on the Truth.fi platform.
Sam Altman suggests that perhaps we require fewer software engineers, as becoming proficient with AI tools is now akin to the old adage of learning to code. Additionally, AlexNet, the pioneering AI model, has been made available in its source code form, allowing anyone to download it. Meanwhile, Joe Tsai from Alibaba has cautioned about a potential bubble forming in the expansion of AI data centers.
The ARC-AGI-2 benchmark has been introduced, revealing that pure large language models, LLMs, achieve a score of 0% on this benchmark, while public AI reasoning systems only manage to score in the single digits. In stark contrast, every single task within the ARC-AGI-2 has been successfully completed by at least 2 humans in less than 2 attempts. These tasks encompass areas such as symbolic interpretation, compositional reasoning, and contextual rule application. Additionally, METR has put forth a proposal to measure AI's ability to complete long tasks, highlighting that the length of tasks AI agents can handle is doubling approximately every 7 months. Furthermore, AI planning has become a central topic in South Korean political discourse.
Instagram is providing schools with increased interaction on social media platforms. In response to a teen's suicide, Character.ai is offering parents information about their children's online activities. The Nintendo Switch 2 is expected to debut in June, with a strong focus on exclusive games developed by Nintendo. Following a series of distributed denial of service (DDoS) attacks, Blizzard has decided to reverse the deaths of players in hardcore WoW for the first occasion. Assassin's Creed Shadows has reached 2 million players, indicating it is on course to become the most successful installment in the series to date.
Researchers have discovered enormous organic molecules on Mars that date back to the time when life first emerged on Earth. Additionally, a SpaceX launch occurring over 4,000 miles away has been attributed to.
A recent study has revealed that the dust found on Mars could potentially present health risks to humans who are planning to explore the red planet. In other news, NASA's Webb Space Telescope has successfully captured images of Neptune's auroras for the very first time. Additionally, a significant honor has been bestowed upon a Japanese mathematician who has been awarded the Abel Prize for his groundbreaking work in symmetry theory, which has provided a versatile mathematical framework for understanding the natural world.
Research indicates that individuals diagnosed with colon cancer face an increased likelihood of dying from heart-related causes. The FDA has granted approval for the first new category of oral antibiotics designed to treat uncomplicated urinary tract infections in almost 3 decades. Studies show that infants are capable of forming temporary memories.
By the year 2030, Additionally, a groundbreaking development in nuclear technology has introduced a new radiocarbon-powered battery capable of functioning for thousands of years without the need for recharging. Furthermore, a significant achievement in quantum computing has been reached with the creation of a 56-qubit computer that can generate truly random numbers.
A tourist submarine has tragically sunk off the coast of Egypt, resulting in the deaths of 6 individuals and leaving 9 others injured, according to official reports. In Bolivia, a state of emergency has been declared following devastating floods that have claimed the lives of more than 50 people. Meanwhile, Myanmar has been hit by a powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake, with the impact of the tremors being felt in neighboring Thailand.
Trump has decided to reinstate a program that monitors large-scale child abductions in Ukraine. Meanwhile, North Korea has reportedly dispatched additional thousands of troops and weapons to Russia, according to Seoul. Bloomberg provides commentary as the United States aims to manage investments in Ukraine, potentially sidelining European involvement. This comes as Putin suggests placing Ukraine under temporary United Nations control to facilitate elections, while Trump expresses interest in obtaining more of Kiev's rare minerals. However, the United States has declined Putin's proposal to remove Zelensky from power.
In capping fines on Apple and Meta to prevent potential backlash from Donald Trump. Additionally, the EU has urged Meta to separate its marketplace to address antitrust concerns. Meanwhile, Italy is seeking payment from Meta, X, and LinkedIn in a significant tax case. In other news, TikTok Shop is expanding its presence in Europe, though its future in the US remains uncertain. Pew Research has reported that fewer Americans now support banning TikTok, with fewer viewing it as a national security threat compared to spring 2023.
The authoritarian leader of Belarus has been sworn in for his 7th term, warning his critics that they have no future. Meanwhile, the chief of the Sudan army, al-Burhan, declared Khartoum is free following the capture of the airport. Additionally, Donald Trump has been discussing the establishment of a compensation fund for those involved in the January 6 riots.
And requests an exemption from these U.S. auto tariffs. Meanwhile, Ursula von der Leyen assures that the EU will safeguard its interests following Trump's announcement of significant car tariffs. Additionally, Trump suggests a potential tariff reduction if China consents to a TikTok agreement. Flight reservations between Canada and the U.S. have plummeted by 70% amid the ongoing Trump tariff conflict. Furthermore, Reuters indicates that the U.S. has temporarily halted its financial contributions to the WTO, according to trade sources.
Japan has established a Joint Operations Command to integrate its 3 self-defense force branches, marking a shift towards a more offensive military strategy, as reported by China's PLA Daily. Meanwhile, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is promoting the development of AI-driven suicide drones and early warning aircraft. In the United States, the Space Force is in the process of creating an aircraft carrier designed for space operations. European military forces are developing a strategy spanning 5 to 10 years to potentially replace the United States within NATO. Meanwhile, NATO's Secretary General, Jens Stoltenberg, emphasizes to both the US and Europe that this is not the time to go it alone. In Brussels, the European Union is urging its citizens to prepare a 72-hour emergency kit to be ready for potential crises. Additionally, Russia's foreign minister has stated that discussions with the United States are underway regarding the possibility of restarting the Nord Stream pipeline, with the aim of exerting influence over Europe.
OpenAI has introduced a new image generator for ChatGPT, which has sparked a celebration of Studio Ghibli's work. Meanwhile, Marvel has announced an expansive cast for the upcoming film Avengers: Doomsday. Additionally, Amazon has secured a deal for LeBron James' podcast titled Mind the Game.
OpenAI anticipates that its revenue will increase threefold, reaching $12.7 billion this year. According to a source, Microsoft has decided to halt its data center projects. As reported by TD Cowen, Bill Gates predicts that within the next decade, artificial intelligence will take over the roles of many doctors and teachers, suggesting that human involvement will not be necessary for most tasks. to mosquitoes. Additionally, the bankruptcy of 23andMe has led to the potential auctioning of DNA information from 15 million users.
FI documents have reportedly revealed that the CIA confirmed the existence of the Ark of the Covenant through remote viewing. Meanwhile, in Turkey, a protester dressed as Pikachu participated in large-scale demonstrations against the arrest of Erdogan's leading opponent. Additionally, in the UK, a ban on ninja swords is set to take effect by summer, with owners being offered compensation.
Declassified documents from 1994 reveal that global leaders were skeptical about North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-il, and referred to him as Goofy. Additionally, a court in Bosnia has issued an international arrest warrant for the Serb leader, Dodik. Meanwhile, Somalia has proposed granting the United States control over its strategically important ports.
In the United States, a significant portion of the national wealth is concentrated among a small group, with just half of the households possessing 97.5% of it. Meanwhile, the unemployment rate among Generation Z has surpassed 4 million, with experts attributing this to the perceived lack of value in college degrees and a system that fails to deliver on its promises, leading to an increase in the number of not in education, employment, or training (NEET) individuals. Additionally, small businesses across the country are facing mounting revenue challenges, with inflation being the primary obstacle they must navigate.
The phenomenon of temperature-dependent hypoxia provides insight into the geographical distribution and intensity of the marine mass extinction that occurred at the end of the Permian period. The removal of waste from the brain has been shown to significantly enhance memory in mice as they age. There is an increasing trend in the number of oral cancer cases, and it is possible that the consumption of sugary beverages is contributing to this rise.
Kristi Noem was seen sporting a $60,000 Rolex Cosmograph Daytona watch during her visit to the notorious El Salvador prison. Additionally, at the El Salvador mega jail, a Trump official advised migrants, "Do not come." The AP reports that U.S. officials made efforts to visit residents in Greenland by going door to door, but they did not find anyone interested in meeting the Vances. Furthermore, Greenland has reportedly agreed to establish a comprehensive government, influenced by pressure from Trump, as stated by local media. Marco Rubio mentioned that the State Department has revoked over 300 student visas.
The UK climate protest group Just Stop Oil has announced that it will cease its direct action activities. In Washington, D.C., vandalizing Teslas is now considered a hate crime. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, is seeking to return a penalty that a mortgage lender paid to resolve allegations of racial discrimination. Riek Machar, the leader of the opposition in South Sudan, has been taken into custody, raising concerns about the potential for a resurgence of civil conflict in the nation that is the youngest in the world. His party claims that the arrest of the vice president has brought an end to the peace agreement in South Sudan. Additionally, Hamas has reported that their spokesperson, Kanua, was killed in an airstrike carried out by Israel. Meanwhile, a court has decided that former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro will face trial on charges related to an attempted coup.
Taiwan is investigating China's leading chipmaker, SMIC, for allegedly recruiting staff from Taiwanese companies. Meanwhile, SMIC has announced that while its revenue is expected to increase in 2024, its net profits are projected to decrease significantly. Additionally, Reuters has reported that China's H3C has issued a warning about a potential shortage of NVIDIA AI chips due to a rapid rise in demand. Furthermore, MIT Technology Review has noted that China constructed numerous AI data centers to capitalize on the AI boom, but many of these facilities are currently not in use.
The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services is set to reduce its workforce by 10,000 employees and shut down several agencies as part of a significant reorganization effort. Meanwhile, the Justice Department has put forward a proposal to combine the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, ATF, with the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, along with other substantial changes. Additionally, the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has instructed its employees to refrain from referring to the agency as independent in any complaints filed.
Senate passes Scott-led effort to repeal Biden-era CFPB overdraft rule, imposing new price controls on overdraft services.
Gabbard mentions that Signal is already installed on government-issued devices. The White House has instructed employees of DOJ to keep their Signal records intact. There has been a significant increase in Signal downloads in both the United States and Yemen following a government scandal.
Residents of Gaza are calling for the conclusion of Hamas's 18-year governance. Indications suggest that the United States is preparing B-2 Spirit bombers at Diego Garcia. The nominee for the U.S. Air Force position advocates for a comprehensive strategy involving drones to address challenges posed by mainland China.
The Sundance Institute has declared Boulder, Colorado, as the new location for the Sundance Film Festival, starting in 2027. A report indicates that Hollywood has yet to regain the jobs lost during the strikes. George Clooney's production of Good Night and Good Luck has set a new Broadway box office record with a weekly gross of $3.3 million.
Taiwan has successfully conducted its inaugural civil defense exercises as tensions with China continue to rise. According to a report by the South China Morning Post, BlackRock has sold a tower in Shanghai at a significant 34% discount, indicating a strategic retreat from the Chinese property market. Meanwhile, the Trump Organization is considering embarking on multi-billion-dollar ventures in Vietnam, despite the potential challenges posed by tariffs. Tencent and the Guillemot family are considering acquiring Ubisoft, the creator of Assassin's Creed, according to Bloomberg News. Additionally, Ubisoft is set to receive a $1.25 billion bailout from Tencent to facilitate the spin-off of its popular franchises, including Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Rainbow Six Siege. Meanwhile, Amazon Luna has entered into a multi-year agreement with EA to offer a wide range of games through its cloud gaming platform. In a different development, NVIDIA has introduced a gaming-focused AI chatbot that operates directly on your GPU, eliminating the need for cloud services. Facebook is reverting to its original focus by prioritizing posts from friends and family. Instacart is compensating shoppers for recording videos of store shelves. X has incorporated the Grok AI chatbot into Telegram. OpenAI has decided to implement the same standard used by its competitor, Anthropic, for linking AI models with data. In Australia, Earth AI has successfully identified 6 new mineral prospects containing tungsten, cobalt, and gold, utilizing predictive artificial intelligence technology. Meanwhile, Columbia University has taken the decision to suspend a student who developed an AI tool designed to assist individuals in cheating during coding interviews.
A judge has given the green light for the New York Times to proceed with its copyright lawsuit against OpenAI. Meanwhile, Europol anticipates a decrease in online piracy. Additionally, Dua Lipa has emerged victorious in a copyright dispute concerning melodies from a 1970s disco song. Marjorie Taylor Greene has accused PBS and NPR of indoctrinating children in advance of a congressional hearing, and she has also labeled these organizations as communist, advocating for the cessation of their funding. Additionally, the Anti-Defamation League has closed its primary anti-bias initiative. Furthermore, Trump has issued an executive order directing efforts to eradicate any improper, divisive, or anti-American ideologies from the Smithsonian, its museums, educational and research centers, and the National Zoo, mandating the removal of certain items concerning race and gender. In a related development, a Nature poll revealed that 75% of U.S. scientists surveyed are contemplating leaving their professions.
Protests, while a Turkish court released an AFP journalist who was also detained during the same protests. According to the agency, the co-director of No Other Land claims that the U.S. Academy declined to release a statement supporting Hamdan Balo, stating that they remained silent when the filmmaker, whom they had previously honored, required their support the most.
Netflix has revealed its inaugural live-action adaptation of the beloved Scooby-Doo series. In a related development, FIFA has declared a historic prize pool of $1 billion for the Club World Cup scheduled for 2025. Additionally, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is set to be the keynote speaker at Mumbai's Waves 2025 summit, as India positions itself as a significant player in the global entertainment industry.
Meghan Markle is reportedly certain that her new business endeavors will propel her to billionaire status. Stephen Curry has collaborated with Michelle Obama to introduce a new sports drink. Lady Gaga has declared her plans for a 2025 Mayhem Ball tour across North America. Politico notes that Trump's supporters are beginning to recognize Pete Hegseth's increasing number of errors. Reason points out that Hegseth's recklessness and dishonesty resemble those of Hillary Clinton. The Wall Street Journal reports that Israeli officials have stated that Israel provided intelligence for an airstrike that was discussed in a Signal chat. The Trump administration labels The Atlantic's article about Signal as a hoax after it removes the war plan's language, while The Atlantic releases screenshots showing the timing and weapons used in the Yemen war plan Signal chat.
Trump is challenging California's prohibition on the mandatory disclosure of students' gender identities to their parents. In West Texas, some measles patients are exhibiting symptoms of vitamin A toxicity, prompting doctors to express worries about the spread of misinformation. Additionally, Nature has reported that the National Institutes of Health (NIH) in the United States plans to reduce funding for COVID-19 research, as indicated by internal documents.
Boost in profits and a reduction in bad loans in 2024, despite a decrease in profit margins. The cryptocurrency sector is on track to experience its most disastrous quarter in terms of hacking incidents, with a staggering $1.6 billion in losses, according to Immunifi.
At an Arctic conference, Putin remarked that the United States is genuinely interested in Greenland, referencing Trump's previous intentions to acquire the territory. Meanwhile, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney declared that the traditional relationship with the United States has concluded. Additionally, Radio Free Europe reported that the Trump administration has withdrawn its order to terminate a grant.
TSMC's commitment of $100 billion to Donald Trump is unlikely to rejuvenate the U.S. chipmaking industry, according to a former Intel executive. Meanwhile, Nikkei discusses TSMC's $165 billion expansion in the U.S., describing it as inevitable yet fraught with risks. In contrast, as NASA grapples with budget reductions, China unveils its ambitious plans for exploring other planets. Additionally, U.S. robotics firms are advocating for a national strategy, which includes establishing a central office, to effectively compete with China. The University of Michigan has shut down its Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion (DEI) office, terminating a significant financial investment in diversity initiatives. This decision comes amid reports that billions of dollars in federal funding could be jeopardized as President Trump calls for U.S. universities to adhere to his directives. Additionally, the Federal Communications Commission (FCC) chair has initiated an investigation into the Walt Disney Company regarding its DEI programs. Furthermore, the U.S. government has mandated that French companies comply with Trump's diversity restrictions.
Crisis presents an opportunity. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni aims to establish Italy as a key link between the United States and Europe, dismissing the notion of having to choose between Donald Trump and European interests. Meanwhile, France sees the European military's actions in Ukraine as a testing ground for a NATO that might emerge after Trump's era. Additionally, Finland's President Sauli Niinisto engaged in a golf game with Trump, during which they talked about the ongoing conflict in Ukraine.
Axios reports that the Trump team is reassuring the public by emphasizing that tax cuts will soon arrive, so there's no need to worry about rising prices. Trump himself has expressed indifference to potential increases in auto prices due to tariffs and is reportedly urging his aides to implement even more significant tariffs as an important deadline approaches. Meanwhile, a CBS News poll indicates that Americans are more concerned about Trump focusing on prices rather than tariffs, although a majority do support his deportation efforts. Additionally, Brazil's President Lula has stated that he intends to engage in negotiations regarding tariffs before considering any retaliatory actions.
SpaceX asking the inaugural mushrooms in space during the forthcoming Fram-2 mission, which will orbit over Earth's poles. Meanwhile, an explorer from Vancouver is reaching out to Trump for approval to extract metals from the Pacific Ocean floor. Additionally, a report indicates that U.S. scientists have experienced a loss of $3 billion in NIH grants since Trump assumed office.
A Chinese scientist who faced exclusion due to his involvement in gene-edited babies is now aiming to make a return. Recent research indicates that the majority of early Europeans possessed dark skin, eyes, and hair until approximately 3,000 years ago. An ancient parasite employed a mechanism similar to that of a Venus flytrap to deposit eggs in its hosts.
J.D. Vance acknowledges that he initially didn't fully understand Trump's motivation for wanting Greenland. However, Vance argues that the United States needs to have control over Greenland to counter the threats posed by China and Russia. He suggests that Greenland should consider making an agreement with the U.S. Meanwhile, Putin dismisses Trump's interest in acquiring Greenland, stating it has no relevance to Russia. Vance also criticizes Denmark for not investing enough in Greenland, as Trump continues to advocate for the U.S. to take over the island. In response to Trump's pressure, Greenland's political parties have formed a wide-ranging coalition government. Trump confidently asserts to NBC News that the U.S. will definitely acquire Greenland, saying, "We'll get Greenland. Yeah, 100%.
Chinese authorities have temporarily suspended the sale of Panama Canal ports. Pentagon official Hegseth has announced that the U.S. military presence in Japan, described as "warrior," is being enhanced to serve as a deterrent against China, emphasizing Japan's crucial role in this strategy. Meanwhile, Greenland's prime minister has stated that the U.S. will not acquire the island. Axios has announced that the White House will now manage the seating arrangement in the briefing room. Additionally, White House correspondents have dismissed a comedian for making offensive remarks about MAGA on the Beast podcast. Meanwhile, Mike Huckabee, whom Trump has chosen as the ambassador to Israel, is attempting to separate himself from his previous statements regarding Palestinians. The Hill has criticized Huckabee, suggesting that his extreme views could lead to chaos in the Middle East.
A supercomputer has revealed the chaotic nature of hypersonic flows at Mach 16. In Beijing, a new X-ray light source has been constructed, boasting a brightness a trillion times greater than the sun. Additionally, a method has been developed to generate power by harnessing Earth's movement through its own magnetic field.
Turkey has detained a Swedish journalist on charges of insulting the president and terrorism. In the United States, private organizations are actively identifying and reporting student protesters, potentially leading to their deportation. Additionally, it has been reported that hundreds of international students received an email instructing them to self-deport due to their involvement in campus activism. In a confidential meeting, Vance and his leading advisors proposed that Trump remove Waltz, but Trump is reportedly reluctant to dismiss Waltz or others implicated in the Signal chat leak, according to officials. Meanwhile, Trump has mentioned he is contemplating options for a third presidential term, although he stated he doesn't wish to discuss it at present, despite numerous people urging him to run. Additionally, Axios has reported that Trump plans to visit Saudi Arabia in May, marking his first international trip, as indicated by sources.
Novo Nordisk's diabetes medication has been shown to reduce the risk of cardiovascular issues by 14% over a 4-year period. Additionally, the newest Alzheimer's treatments have the potential to extend patients' years of independence. Furthermore, a study indicates that lifestyle choices have a greater influence on lifespan than genetic factors.
The Academy has issued an apology for not providing sufficient support to the Oscar-winning Palestinian director. Meanwhile, Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu plans to visit Hungary, despite an arrest warrant issued by the International Criminal Court. Additionally, Iran has declined to engage in direct nuclear negotiations with former President Trump but remains open to indirect discussions, following Trump's previous warning to Iran that there will be bombing if Tehran rejects U.S. nuclear talks.
The UK regulatory body plans to begin granting licenses to cryptocurrency companies by the year 2026. Meanwhile, in the United States, the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, has concluded its investigation into Crypto.com without taking any further action. Additionally, a report suggests that Japan is considering reclassifying cryptocurrency as a financial product in an effort to reduce insider trading.
A record-breaking number of 736,000 sandhill cranes have gathered in Nebraska during the peak of spring migration, and there are no indications of bird flu, despite previous worries. In China, researchers are employing laser drones to accurately count the nation's vast population of trees, totaling 142.6 billion. Meanwhile, in Tokyo, rice farmers are demonstrating against what they perceive as misguided regulations that are contributing to rice shortages.
Samsung Electronics has introduced its AI Home concept, featuring enhanced artificial intelligence and improved screens in a variety of new product lines. Meanwhile, Google has ceased manufacturing the Nest Protect and the Nest X Yale lock. Additionally, China's supersonic jet, the C-949, aims to achieve a 50% increase in range compared to the Concorde and produce 95% less noise. Split Fiction secures its spot in gaming history by achieving 3 world records. Korea's Krafton is challenging the 25-year dominance of The Sims. Nintendo is reportedly planning a Zelda movie trilogy, with filming planned for New Zealand.
A significant breach in Oracle Cloud has led to the exposure of over 6 million records, potentially endangering more than 140,000 tenants. Additionally, 1.5 million private photographs from LGBTQ+, BDSM, and sugar dating applications have been compromised. The HTTPS certificate industry has implemented new security measures, including multi-perspective issuance corroboration and linting.
RFK Jr. has compelled Peter Marks, a leading vaccine official, to resign. In his resignation letter, Marks refutes Kennedy's falsehoods. Additionally, RFK Jr. is anticipated to dismiss the entire staff of the Office of Infectious Disease and HIV/AIDS Policy. Meanwhile, there are reports that DOJ is advocating for businesses to manage government services to the greatest extent feasible. STAT has expressed that, noting that the removal of FDA's Peter Marks has alarmed the biopharma industry, which regarded him as a supporter.
A letter from the industry warns that more than $13 billion in investments in solar and wind energy projects in Vietnam could be jeopardized. Meanwhile, Japan is planning to allocate an unprecedented $133 billion to enhance its resilience against earthquakes. Additionally, as the global climate warms, changes in cloud patterns are contributing to increased uncertainty about climate conditions.
Authorities in London have detained individuals responsible for organizing a protest related to Gaza at the Quaker House. Meanwhile, Haaretz has published an article discussing the situation in Gaza, where it claims that nearly every unit of the Israel Defense Forces, IDF, employs Palestinian individuals as human shields, likening them to a sub-army of forced laborers. Additionally, reports have emerged of the discovery of the bodies of aid workers who were previously missing, found in a mass grave in Gaza following Israeli military operations.
The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC, has withdrawn its previous guidance regarding banks and cryptocurrency, indicating that banks are now permitted to participate in cryptocurrency activities without needing prior approval. Additionally, FTX is set to commence $11.4 billion in creditor payouts in May, following a prolonged bankruptcy process. Furthermore, former President Donald Trump has granted pardons to 3 co-founders of the BitMEX cryptocurrency exchange and a former employee.
AI specialists argue that our current approach is misguided in the quest to develop artificial intelligence that closely resembles human capabilities. Meanwhile, Wired reports that OpenAI's Sora is facing significant issues with biases, including sexism, racism, and ableism. Additionally, Apple is preparing to introduce a virtual healthcare assistant through Project Mulberry as it accelerates its efforts to enhance AI-driven health services.
During the Trump administration, businesses are altering the branding of their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives rather than abandoning them. In the United States, the Naval Academy is making moves to eliminate diversity policies related to books and admissions. Meanwhile, Columbia University's president has been replaced amid threats from Trump concerning the university's funding.
TSMC, Intel, and other leading chip manufacturers are reducing the pace of their expansion efforts in Japan and Malaysia. Meanwhile, the New York Times highlights that India is experiencing a significant hiring surge, which remains unaffected by Trump's tariffs. Additionally, the Wall Street Journal covers a conflict between Apple and Elon Musk regarding their satellite expansion strategies.
In the United States, companies like Uber and DoorDash are advocating for a policy that would exempt tips from taxation, specifically benefiting their drivers. Meanwhile, in Bangladesh, individuals known as remittance warriors have successfully sent a record amount of $3 billion back to their country. Additionally, A poll conducted in the United Kingdom reveals that young people are more concerned about work and financial issues than they are about cultural conflicts or climate change.
In the United States, far-right influencers are organizing a matchmaking event with a participation fee of $10,000 per person, aiming to increase the global population. Additionally, former President Trump has withdrawn research funding intended to safeguard pregnant women from domestic violence, citing concerns related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. Furthermore, a report indicates that Mike Waltz utilized the Signal messaging app for more confidential national security discussions. It is also reported that passwords and other sensitive information from high-ranking Trump officials have been discovered circulating online after a Signal leak.
Trump is taking steps to remove unionization rights for the majority of federal employees. Meanwhile, in the United States, states are quickly employing federal workers who have been laid off due to DOGE-related budget cuts. Additionally, Elon Musk has stated that Trump will target individuals who are spreading falsehoods about Tesla.
Pakistan intends to deport 3 million Afghan individuals this year. In the United States, numerous individuals who have been granted parole have received an email from the government advising them to leave the country immediately. A study involving Lyft drivers has uncovered instances of racial profiling by law enforcement officers. A tsunami alert has been declared following a 7.1 magnitude earthquake that struck close to Tonga. In Myanmar, a strong earthquake caused damage to over 60 historic pagodas and structures, among them the Maha Mayat Muni Pagoda. Meanwhile, in the United States, severe storms have resulted in tornadoes and hail the size of golf balls, extending from the Great Lakes region to Texas.
The New York Times highlights the increasing violence and viral spread of activities by online individuals who claim to hunt pedophiles. Additionally, the White House is experiencing criticism for using an image inspired by Studio Ghibli to depict a person convicted of dealing fentanyl. Furthermore, a reward in the form of a meme coin is being offered for information leading to the location of Joe Lowe, the mastermind behind the 1MDB scandal.
Israel plans to regain control over 25% of Gaza in an effort to compel Hamas to release hostages, according to an official statement. Hamas has reportedly reduced its casualty figures by thousands. The Independent has published a report alleging that Palestinian doctors were subjected to torture to extract confessions, highlighting severe abuse claims against Israeli soldiers.
The Trump family is putting money into a Bitcoin mining business. Coinbase experienced its most challenging quarter since the FTX collapse, as the cryptocurrency market continues to decline. Bybit has decided to close its NFT marketplace due to a decrease in trading activity.
The Wall Street Journal has reported that Mark Zuckerberg is attempting to involve Donald Trump in his efforts to challenge a recent decision by the European Union against Meta. France's antitrust authority has imposed a fine exceeding $160 million on Apple due to issues with third-party pop-ups. In China, Douyin, a platform owned by ByteDance, is providing insights into its recommendation algorithm in response to mounting regulatory scrutiny.
Significant reductions in air pollution levels in China have led to an increase in global warming. Recent research indicates that if the global temperature rises by 4 degrees Celsius, the average individual could experience a 40% decrease in their wealth. There is a potential for honeybee colonies to suffer a 70% decline by 2025, which could have severe repercussions for agricultural practices.
Researchers propose that OpenAI utilized paywalled O'Reilly books for training their AI models. The Alan Turing Institute is set to undergo a significant overhaul in an effort to bring itself up to date with modern standards. AI models have been found to overlook diseases in Black and female patients.
Amazon has introduced Nova Act, an artificial intelligence agent capable of managing a web browser. Microsoft is in the process of revamping the Windows blue screen of death, potentially transforming it into a black screen. Google is simplifying the use of end-to-end encrypted Gmail, making it accessible to everyone, including those who use Outlook.
California currently boasts a 48% increase in electric vehicle chargers compared to the number of gasoline nozzles available throughout the state. In China, flying taxis are on the verge of taking off as the first companies have successfully obtained essential licenses. Scientific American has weighed in on the matter, highlighting that major banks are discreetly making preparations for the potential catastrophic effects of global warming. Politico has reported that banks are envisioning a bleak climate future, yet they are also identifying opportunities to capitalize on it.
The New York Post has reported that since the Trump administration assumed office, it has apprehended 113,000 migrants and deported more than 100,000 individuals. The Trump Department of Justice has acknowledged that an administrative error resulted in an innocent father being wrongfully imprisoned in El Salvador. In the United States, technology companies are advising their immigrant employees who are on visas to refrain from leaving the country.
China initiates military exercises encircling Taiwan, labels its president as a parasite, while the White House cautions China regarding these war maneuvers close to Taiwan. The Philippine military leader advises soldiers to begin preparations in anticipation of a potential conflict involving Taiwan. The United States grants approval for the sale of 20 F-16 fighter jets to the Philippines, as Washington strengthens its crucial alliances in Asia. The Trump administration has established a task force to examine Harvard University's financial support following Columbia University's compliance with federal requirements. This initiative is part of a broader review by the Trump administration, which plans to scrutinize $9 billion in contracts and grants awarded to Harvard. Trump has temporarily halted numerous federal grants to Princeton University. In other news, Senator Marco Rubio has instructed U.S. diplomats to thoroughly investigate the social media accounts of student visa applicants. Germany is referencing post-Holocaust principles in its efforts to deport pro-Palestinian demonstrators.
A new type of particle known as a beauty baryon has been identified at the world's largest particle accelerator located at CERN. Physicists have uncovered evidence suggesting an asymmetry between matter and antimatter in the decay processes of baryons and beauty hadrons. Furthermore, the head of CERN has warned that without the development of a massive particle collider, Europe might lose its leadership in the field of physics to China. This warning comes as CERN reveals its plans to construct a new particle accelerator that will surpass the size of the existing Large Hadron Collider.
Roblox users have the opportunity to view Google's immersive advertisements in return for receiving in-game benefits. An analyst has valued YouTube at a potential $550 billion, dubbing it the new king of all media, as it is on the verge of surpassing Disney to become the largest media company globally. Amazon is launching a new strategy for its movies, beginning with theatrical releases.
The spotlight is on assisted driving technology following a deadly electric car accident in China, prompting Xiaomi to collaborate with authorities regarding the SU-7 EV's autonomous driving system. Dongfeng and Chang'an are suggesting a potential merger that might result in the formation of the globe's fifth largest automotive group. The European Union has imposed a $495.3 million fine on car manufacturers as part of an investigation into vehicle recycling practices.
The ChatGPT free image generator has garnered the attention of 1 million users within just 1 hour of its launch. Runway has introduced a new AI video model that aims to ensure consistent character representation. In a related development, Microsoft has closed its AI laboratory in Shanghai, indicating a more significant retreat from its operations in China.
A new California ballot initiative, known as the Luigi Mangione Act, aims to increase the difficulty for insurance companies to refuse medical coverage. In the United States, the Department of Justice has announced its intention to pursue the death penalty for Luigi Mangione, who is accused of murdering the CEO of United Healthcare. Following the rejection of its third bankruptcy settlement, Johnson & Johnson has declared its decision to face talc-related lawsuits in court, after a U.S. judge declined to approve J&J's proposed $10 billion settlement for baby powder cases. China, Japan, and South Korea have reached an agreement to address U.S. tariffs and are looking to enhance their trade relations. The Chinese foreign minister has expressed a commitment to maintaining a friendship with Russia, stating, "Friends forever, never enemies." Additionally, the United States has imposed sanctions on officials from China and Hong Kong for their involvement in targeting activists overseas. BlackRock has received approval to operate as a cryptocurrency asset firm in the UK, and its CEO, Larry Fink, has suggested that Bitcoin might eventually replace the dollar as the global reserve currency due to rising national debt. In a disturbing development within the cryptocurrency world, a trader's suicide on XLive has been turned into a meme coin, highlighting the darker aspects of the industry. trade groups in the UK are calling on the government to focus on cryptocurrency as a key strategic sector.
The Oxford Dictionary has included the Filipino term jijal, which describes an overwhelming feeling of cuteness. In Japan, the Sukiya restaurant chain plans to shut down almost 2,000 locations following the discovery of a rat and a cockroach in one of their dishes. Microsoft has employed artificial intelligence to identify vulnerabilities in the Grub 2, U-Boot, and Bearbox bootloaders. A recent study indicates that the actual population of Earth could exceed the officially reported 8.2 billion people. Research in pedestrian physics demonstrates that the chaotic behavior of crowds is triggered by small changes in angles. Furthermore, single-cell immune aging clocks have uncovered significant differences in how individuals age during infections and vaccinations. In the United States, Senators Mike Lee and Tommy Tuberville have put forth a legislative proposal aimed at eliminating the Transportation Security Administration, TSA. In the Middle East, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia are collaborating on a unified bid to host the Rugby World Cup in the year 2035. Air Canada has reported a decrease of 10% in bookings from the United States, attributing this decline to the ongoing trade tensions between the two nations.
Zack Snyder has teamed up with the UFC and Turkey Alshik to create a new film titled Brawler. The CEO of Netflix has declared that movie theaters are no longer relevant, questioning what message consumers are sending. John Boyega has expressed that Star Wars is so predominantly white that the presence of a black character is considered significant, noting that toxic fans are comfortable with black characters playing supporting roles but resist them being portrayed as heroes.
A study by the People's Liberation Army suggests that Chinese submarines equipped with lasers have the potential to disable Starlink satellites. Russian President Vladimir Putin has announced plans to draft an additional 160,000 Russian citizens to support the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. The United States Department of Defense is set to reassess the physical fitness requirements for military personnel in combat roles.
According to a report by the Washington Post, it has been revealed that Waltz and his team utilized Gmail for conducting government communications, as stated by officials. Elon Musk made a visit to the CIA to engage in discussions regarding potential downsizing efforts. Furthermore, Donald Trump has hinted that Elon Musk's Doge might be closed down much sooner than its originally anticipated date. Sweden is reintroducing books and handwriting exercises into its schools, which have been heavily reliant on technology. New York is considering implementing a statewide prohibition on cell phones in educational institutions. Hong Kong plans to prohibit flavored smoking products next year, beginning with those that are not menthol flavored.
Trump issues executive order aimed at combating ticket scalpers and their automated systems. Trump establishes an investment office to manage funds allocated for the CHIPS Act. The New York Times discloses that a prosecutor affiliated with Trump is attempting to weaken Biden's pardons.
Val Kilmer, known for his roles in Top Gun and as Batman, has passed away at the age of 65. The actor was renowned for his passionate and intense acting style. In other news, the Snow White film has faced significant criticism on IMDb, with accusations of a smear campaign involving Rachel Zegler. Tom Holland's upcoming Spider-Man 4 has been officially titled Spider-Man: Brand New Day, with filming scheduled to begin this summer.
The military regime in Myanmar has discharged warning shots at a convoy delivering aid to those affected by the earthquake, as various organizations attempt to reach the victims. In a related development, the United States has proposed naming a street in Washington, D.C., as Jimmy Lai Way to honor the imprisoned media tycoon, during a speech by the Hong Kong Trade Office. Andreessen Horowitz is reportedly in discussions to assist in purchasing the shares held by TikTok's Chinese owners.
The Washington Examiner provides commentary as Republicans rejoice over the full removal of BLM Plaza. The Trump administration is celebrating a significant increase in self-deportations, describing it as sky-high levels of reverse migration. Additionally, Marine Le Pen's supporters in Russia and Hungary are criticizing the guilty verdict, and Le Pen herself plans to appeal the French election ban following an embezzlement ruling.
A massive claw discovered in Mongolia has been identified as belonging to a previously unknown species of dinosaur, with only 2 fingers. In Brazil, a velvet ant has been found to be so dark that it is considered ultra-black. Geoscientists have made the discovery that North America is experiencing significant water leakage from beneath its surface. A new photothermocatalytic reactor, along with a selective solar absorber, has been developed for the sustainable production of fuel through the process of ethylene oligomerization, in other words, plain sunlight used to generate